monster, and Connie is somewhat wired on the vitamins and stuff. And we are here to draw the things. And as you can see, I'm very serious with this late night stream, but I am with a very great human being, the one and only Conny Jolitz. How you doing?
Hello. Oh, it's been a good day. I've had the day off because it's we had to reschedule a little bit because at first I thought like Veterans day off, I can just stream whenever I want to, but then they called me in for work. Ta-da! So they switched it around on me. So now I've got today off, and then yeah, this makes it a lot easier.
It's all good for me. So
Uh-huh.
I have the day. It's weird. My schedule is fluid. Like I'm a freelancer like mostly now, but I have a side gig working for the arena that supports the hockey team here, the NHL hockey team here.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah.
That's what you've been doing today.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that's what I came back with tonight. It was Brian Adams's concert, so I got to hear Brian
Oh,
Adams. I actually got to hear a little Brian Adams while I was working. Like he's really good live. Like he's really good live. Right? He's there.
I've heard I've heard that a lot of people, you might not be a great fan of one person or another, but they're really great live bands. You know, there's a
Yeah.
few people like that I've heard of.
Well, he was good. Like I was listening to him play his old hits for the first. I was only there for the first hour of the concert. Like we want my job is so all the food stands up above. I help deliver food and stuff to all their orders for food, so they can serve customers with however they're going to serve
Oh,
customers.
the one that's delivered, you pretty much out of there.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's it. Like I usually even with hockey games, right? I'm
Mm.
almost at every hockey game, but I'm there for like the first two periods, and then third period I usually go home. Now if Calgary makes the playoffs, which they probably will, they are a good team,
Mhm.
right? Then I'm there until the game's over because in the playoffs that can be all night long. I might be there I might be there until like 2 o'clock in the morning serving beer at the bar. For God's sakes, people go home. No, go Flames, go Flames, go, and they'll be drunk. And if they win, it's like yay, and if they lose, they're like oh, right. And then it's sort of like that's literally how this goes. But
You
tonight,
know.
but
Oh, but I wanted to ask you that hockey fans are they just as rowdy as soccer fans usually, or not really?
uh, hmm. Okay, so Vancouver British Columbia's fans will riot, but their team generally sucks. I kind of feel like that's all they got. And that's
You got game, but not that kind of game.
yeah, no, they don't. Like they've come close a couple times to winning the cup, but they are legitimately like I see. I'm a Red Wing fan at heart. Like I'm a Detroit Red Wing fan at heart.
Oh, okay.
Right, because my family's from Detroit. I'm a big Steve Yzerman fan from back in the day, so that's my team. But I respect Calgary. Calgary's a good team. I can respect them. So it's one of those things where it's just like, and I'm working for them, so I can't exactly say like, hey, they're no. But the thing is, right? Canadians are very passionate about hockey. Like they're very passionate about it. Soccer is kind of like its own. I I think
I think soccer for a lot of different countries is almost like a religion,
it is. No.
and it's more serious for them than football is for Americans, for
So
sure. Like
uh
if you're
I
going if you're going to South America, for example,
oh yeah.
like a lot of it is really involved in like their livelihood, and then you've
Mhm.
got different kinds of gangs and mafia supporting stuff. So it's like their calling, like their
I,
way out and all that kind of stuff. So it's really serious, and the same thing applies also for European soccer. Like your team is just it's all
well,
there.
so I would say like football. Like I both the American and the European and South American versions, because soccer is called football in
Yeah,
every
yeah.
other part of the world. Both versions of football, I think, are religious, have religious undertones. Like you sit there and think, okay, think about a Dallas Cowboy fan for just a second. Just right,
Okay.
they dress up in their uniforms. They're sitting at, now if they're at home, they're sitting down. They probably got some form of snack and booze, some combination of it. And if
Yeah.
their team and they're surrounded by their paraphernalia of stuff. And if the team scores, it's like, yeah, right. And they might even do like some kind of, and I've seen this with some people, do some kind of ceremonial stuff. Yeah, they'll high five, they'll dance, whatever. And if they get their butts kicked, it's like, oh man, it's like this incredible high low thing, right? So like if we're talking religion in terms of a ceremonial everyday thing,
Definitely.
that
Definitely.
like that's if that's what we're talking about, then football is a religion. Either sport, actually, either version of it is a religion. It doesn't like, and considering the amount of television time that goes into football.
And it's on the weekends too. So
Yeah,
it's got a special day like Sunday, like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Right. So I mean, it's got a lot of the trappings of our religion. It does. I'm not now again, some people just enjoy like I enjoy like I bullshit with football with some of my other guests too. Right. I enjoy that. But it's not like I'm I'm too busy, generally speaking, to go and watch a football game at this point. Now, I would go to one live. I think one live would be super, super fun,
Hmm.
right? But that's me. That's me being like,
Like I'm German, right? So I just got the legal residency for the U.S. So when I came to the U.S. for the first time, I'm like, American football, okay, well, I'll take it. And at the time, we were living in the area of Tampa, so that's the Buccaneers.
yeah,
So we were going there, and at that time, the Buccaneers were awful.
yeah,
Like they were awful. Like we always lost and everything. That was before. What's his name? Uh, Never mind. So we went to one game. And like, oh sure, it's fun. Like all the different thing, and they have the cannons going off if their team goes into like the end in the general last quarter of the field or whatever. Of course, when I was there, the cannons would never go off because it never made it that far. but ever since we got to Hawaii, it was kind of like, well, we're not going to worry about it anymore because if you're not in the town where your team normally plays, then you're kind of like lonesome and you're just kind of like, it's not
yeah.
the
It's like,
same at all.
it's
It's not
not
the
like
same at all. But at one time, like a friend of ours came over during football season time, and he's like, "Oh, can we go and watch the film? Watch the game over there someplace?" It was like a big Sunday, and everybody was playing and all that kind of stuff. And over here, for some reason, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a huge fan crowd. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's certain kind of teams that have a huge following in Hawaii, So we just finally found a sports bar where we were just sitting there and we wanted to watch the games and everything. That turns out that the Pittsburgh crew had like rented the entire back room of that restaurant, and we were supposed to go, because they had all the tables and everything reserved. So we're like, oh, we'll just finish eating and then we'll go. And in the meantime, like the game had already started, and I think Pittsburgh was playing somebody else, and the other team had just scored, and just for the fun of it, like my husband and their buddy were both like, "Yay!" You should have seen the faces of everybody.
just watch everybody look at them with murder in their eyes. Like, how dare you?
Well, it was just the beginning of the game, so they were still kind of good humored about the shit. So like, they didn't
Yeah.
mind. Like, yeah, this kind of shit is going to get you beaten up. And I'm like, oh no, mind, I'm just gonna leave yeah now. But yeah, people are weird.
No, well, no, like okay, like we all obsess over shit, right? Like we all do. Like
Yeah.
all of us are guilty of it, right? Right? It's what we obsess over, right? I obsess over right now, um, like I'm putting together a show for a client right now. So I just did
Mhm.
I felt like so it's one of the things I'm working on, right? I started filming a pilot yesterday. We kind of did like a test run, like the test film run, kind
Mhm.
of get the feel of the show and what it's going to be and look like and stuff. And I found myself with her, like basically getting her comfortable in the front of the camera, making all the mistakes we're going to make. So now, like this week and next week, I'm structuring the show's going to be better structured for both of us
Mhm.
involved, so that the next time we shoot, we just go straight into it. Like, and that's good. And we already got an idea for what the second episode's going to be. And it looks like I'm going to be scripting a lot more than I anticipated, which is totally fine. It's part of the job. I'm a trained motherfucking professional or something, Connie, something like that, right? So, and so that's one of my obsessions. The other obsession right now is, well, like I said, the ups and downs of freelancing. 2 weeks ago, I was going to make my first $3,000 month as just creatively, just $3,000, right? Ever. And then within the last 2 weeks, that got cut literally to like a third of that. It was like,
How did that happen?
2 contracts basically said, we got to put you on hold until the new year. We'll see how it goes. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when stuff like that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the ups and downs, right? So, I mean, one of the things you got to learn in this business is you got to be tough. Like, you just have to be tough. And
was there anything that you could have done to change it, or was
nothing? Like the reality of the situation was, in one case, you have to make a decision when you're doing that. Like, if you decide I'm going to freelance, you can't do anything for free, really. You can't, because the moment you start doing that, this is what I learned. My very first client taught me this lesson. The more money you charge, the more they respect you. They have to respect you. Right.
Okay.
I learned that incredibly early on. Right. And I've always been shocked. Like how valuable that lesson's been for me. Right. It's because what I realized, because here's the thing. I suddenly understood the fast food industry a lot better. Right. And that was the reason why a fast food worker is not respected is simply put, they're not paid enough. Right. If the fast food guy was making, let's say the average wage is $15 an hour. It's probably a bit high, but let's say it's $15 an hour. That guy, probably, considering everything he does, should be making closer to 25. When you figure the speed, the precision, the prepping of food, the safety, all that stuff, all the pressures they're dealing with to do this stuff, you're probably looking at about $25 an hour is what they should be making. At $25 an hour, right?
Yeah.
At $25 an hour, you're training that guy. You're going to try to keep them relatively happy. I'm not going to say perfectly happy, but relatively happy, right?
You would think so, yeah.
Right, because again, you got money invested in them, right?
But that's just the thing. Like for somebody in that job, it's kind of like they're replaceable, right? So they're not thought of as a commodity.
No, they're not. But part of that's because they're not paid that way, right?
Yeah.
Right. If they were paid that way, it'd be a different story. But they're not. Instead, they are treated like they're disposable, and they're paid like they're disposable too, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So, as a freelancer, you gotta make you're basically, one of the things you gotta have the confidence to say is like, listen, if we're doing this, you're gonna be paying me to do this well, right? And
I guess it also depends on what it is, because as like a drawing artist, I do occasionally do stuff that is more like charity oriented. So like specific things that where I donate my time because it's meant to be as a.
But okay, that's different though too, right? Because now okay, charity has its own value, but
that's true,
right? Charity has its own value to it, and also at the same token, the goal's different, right? The goal is different, and I'm not. And by the way, not knocking anyone that chooses to do anything for charity, because it's an awesome thing, right? But what you got to look at is, okay, if you were making a living at this, let's say you were going for a living, not charity, not doing this you're going for a living because you're worth it, and you are worth it, right? And you believe it. Well, you gotta now you think about this a lot differently. The mentality is now, okay, is the person that you're working with going to appreciate you? Right? Because if they're not going to appreciate you, right, then that's going to reflect into how much they're going to pay you. This is what I've learned. It's like if they think you're valuable, they will pay you. They're not even going to ask questions. They're just going to pay you. Right? They're just going to pay you because you're hard to replace. Your skills are valuable. You help them. There's lots of reasons to do that, right? And I say it like that because because the point I'm getting across there is, right, there's a value to my time. There's a value to what I'm offering.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to fight for that. That's the biggest struggle freelancers, by and large, deal with, is you got to convince the world on some level that you're worth it, right? And some people, and that's the thing, right? And some people, no matter what you do, are never going to see that value. And I learned this very early on, right? Like, you have to charge a certain amount, because if you don't, you're not going to be
You're going to be discounted.
yeah, you're going to be dismissed, you're going to be devalued. Part of my thing sometimes when I look at why I'm let go sometimes is I'm still too cheap. And when I realize that, and again, I'm realizing that more and more, is maybe I should be charging more money, not less, more. Right? And again, that sounds counterintuitive when you first hear it, right? But it's something I've learned about this game is you have to realize that, again, the money's there, but you have to go get it, and you can't be afraid to ask for it, if that makes sense.
I've noticed a lot, like well, for let's see, I've heard some people say that especially for like drawing artists, there's a fine balance,
Yes.
and that's also you are not helping yourself if you are um, overvaluing yourself.
Oh yeah, no.
Because
Yeah.
if you're looking at it like let's say you go to a Comic Con and you have a whole bunch of different people offering stuff at the same time. Now, somebody who's really really well known and everything, they can charge like 500, 600, 1,500 for their art because for one, they're well known. A lot of people are looking to get their stuff, and they have a long line of people who are asking for it. Now, if I'm charging, let's say, for a small thing, $50, $200, whatever it might be, that person would say like, "Oh, you could, your art is great. You could probably charge up more stuff. You could charge more." But at the same time, if I'm overvaluing myself, now I'm sitting there and I could maybe sell one piece of art for a person who's willing to take a shot for nice art for somebody they don't know. But at the same time, my art, my skill level is not at the same worth to a lot of people than somebody who's world famous. You know what I mean?
I'm going to push back on
So,
that. I'm going to
okay,
push down on that one a little bit.
okay.
You are great. And I'm not, there's no joke, no BS. You are incredibly talented. You may not have the name recognition some other people do.
That's simply what I'm going on right now.
Yeah. If you're going to go strictly on name recognition, there is some truth to what you're saying. But there's a lot of factors that go into that. Okay, how long does it take you to do a really good piece in terms of hours or days or even weeks, depending upon the complexity of the piece, right? I look at it kind of like this. This is how I look at it. I'm not just paying for your name, I'm paying for your time, I'm paying for your expertise, and I'm paying you for the problem you are solving for me. Whether that is, hey, I want you to do a book cover for me, or B, I want this picture makes me feel a certain way. Can you make one just for me? Right?
And
And
that's why I'm saying it's a fine balance because
yeah,
you don't want to undersell yourself and
no,
just sell your stuff at a discount, but you also have to say realistically, in comparison to somebody who is at a certain name recognition, what can I charge compared to that? There is a little bit of a fine balance where you can go. You have to kind of like swim in the channel and see
Mhm.
where you can go. So it's a
that
trial and error kind of thing.
there's definitely like a bit of that, but where I'm kind of going at with you, like I'm just looking at this. There are some non-negotiables, even if in regards to name recognition. And these are things I think every artist should ask themselves. What how much will it cost me to do something for somebody and not resent it? And I think that's a very important question that every artist has to ask. And I don't actually think I think that is for each artist. That part of the equation is non-negotiable, right?
Um,
And I say it like that for this reason, because if you're going to resent what you're doing, you're going to put the pen down sooner or later. And I would rather.
part of the fine balance is also like another artist friend of mine told me this. You should look at a piece of art and also gauge by how you feel about letting it go.
Yes,
What
absolutely.
what is the minimum value that you would want to let it go at, and
Yeah,
never go below that, which
yeah,
is good advice.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Which is definitely good advice. That does tie in with the same general thing, like you don't over and underprice yourself. But that was generally the one of the best advice. Look at it and say like, don't go below what makes you feel bad for letting it go.
Hmm. Absolutely. That no, like resentment. Like this is supposed to be a good and this is true as a writer too. This is supposed to be a good experience for you, right? You might not. It might be work in terms of okay, I got a job I'm doing, right?
Mhm.
But but when he comes right down to it, right? Um, I don't want to. Uh, oh, there we go. Man, she's cute.
What's that?
I'm trying to draw a friend of mine. She's actually really cute, and
Oh,
that's what I'm doing tonight. Is I'm drawing her. I'm trying to draw her anyway. I still got a long way to go. I haven't had a chance to draw as much as I would have wanted to in the last little bit. So I'm like, because of everything else. Like I was working on the other project I was working on was a card game, right? I was going to be
I
building a
remember you saying something about that. Yeah, some kind of a
yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah,
remember we were talking about it, and I remember showing you a Kickstarter
yep.
thing that had a different, like a very professional campaign.
Oh yeah, no, 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 and I was grateful for that because I got to
Keeper.
I got to study quite not just what you showed me, but other people showed me stuff too, right? And
Hmm.
because I know what a good game feels like because I know we've all played them, right?
Hmm.
And I have a lot of experience with card games in particular, so I know what are good and what are good things to do, what are bad things to do, right? And what are common mistakes players make, that kind of stuff, right? So so saying all that, it was so I was really looking forward to it, and that is on hold for the time being. I don't know if I go back to it or not. Um, I'm not so sure because what it comes down to there for me is I'm not one of my big worries about this is I think the work required to get a game off the ground and make money is it's a daunting task. right? If you hit, it's a home run. Like the one thing about games, if you hit it, they are almost certainly like big home runs. But if you don't, right? If you don't, it can be very frustrating, right? And so what I was going to start to do, as I was supposed to start to do, is I was going to start building the community to the game.
Okay.
And again, just on a personal note, I'm not sure where, like I said, I had ideas on how to do it, and there were things I set up. I actually contacted a couple pro players in the city. I had talked to a game shop in the city for like a base of operations kind of thing where I can play the game. And I was looking at like other groups that I think would be interested in a game like this to try it,
Mhm.
right? So I was amping up to get this really rolling, and then I was told, well, we're going to be putting this off until the new year. I'm like, okay. So
Uh,
maybe I go back to it, maybe I don't, you know?
well, the thing is, if a company has established a history of putting stuff off or not doing the deadlines that they gave you in the first time and then pushing it off, that kind of makes me wary.
Oh,
You know,
I am worried.
if you're already early establishing a routine of delay and not meeting deadlines that also reflects on their work mentality and what things are going on, or it
Oh yeah.
could, so that's, yeah, that's definitely not a good thing if it starts off like that right in the first few months, I think, right? So, yeah.
Well, like I said, it's also like I said, it's how bad do you want it, right? And I mean, and I don't like, and this isn't a knock to them. I don't know for sure, right? I don't have an answer to this because, how do I put this? I mean, I don't know why the reasons of the delays are there. You know what I mean? I mean, they
Oh, they
could be
didn't
great.
tell you? They
They
didn't
said we're
tell
going
you?
to hold off till the new year, and they said like it could have been financial, it could have been like a family emergency for all I know.
Or maybe they have a better opportunity to start at that particular time, like some
Yeah,
kind
oh
of a.
yeah. It's entirely like again, I'm not completely throwing it out the window, but at the same time, I'd already taken the work and effort to build some
Yeah.
stuff, so I'm gonna have to do that all over again if I'm involved in it again, right? So and
Did they pay you at least for partial of your
they
time?
they paid me up until like I was about to start that contract. I hadn't been paid. It was going to be a weekly deal,
Mhm.
so yeah, no. So I mean, I got paid for other things I did for them, so I can't say like they never paid me, but like this was a small investment to make my time worthwhile for this, and
Hmm.
kind of to build a community for it. And like I said, I don't know if I'll see it again. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. You know, I'm not holding my. Again, the other thing I've learned in this business too is don't hold your breath. Sometimes things come. Like sometimes things do come back. Like sometimes it's like wrong place, wrong time, kind of deal. But I've also learned like I can't hold my breath. Right. I have to move forward and go for other opportunities. Right. And whatever they look like. You know, so
You
that's
know,
what I'm.
sometimes you can't force things,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
but it's hard sometimes because you have to also have
Pay the.
faith that there's going to be something else coming along.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, sometimes I've seen that happen where things fall through, but then something else comes along. So it depends, Sometimes it's
oh yeah.
new things come along, and sometimes the opportunity doesn't come again. So it's kind of like a crapshoot, right?
Sometimes. Like again, I'm not. It's odd. I'm not like when it hit me. I felt sorry for myself because again, it was my second. It was I lost two contracts in a very short period of time, and it was like okay, that sucks, right? Because that's I mean. That's what else? What else am I gonna say, right? I mean, that sucks. I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if you're automatically like, oh, I don't care whatsoever, that just yeah,
that
I don't think anybody says that.
no, no.
So
At that point, I shouldn't be in this business. Like, at that point, I just shouldn't be in this business. I'm just being real. When I say that, it's like I should not be here.
I'm starting something. I'm just doing the pencils right now. But I'm starting a Sleeping Beauty. It's actually a Nezuko.
Yeah, and so I am. So right, so that's really cute. That's awesome. Like way better than me. I'm just here. I'm doing pencils too. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here.
I can see a little bit of it, but it's a little bit. Oh, I see the glasses. I think sometimes it's hard
Glasses.
with pencils.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's hard with pencils because they don't focus
no.
quite right if it's not enough
Yeah,
on
no,
contrast.
and I'm like I said, I am super nervous about this one because it's like, well, you know what? It's one of those situations where I know deep down, as good as it is, she is always going to be prettier than the picture I draw. But I'm going to do my best anyway, right? So, um, but again, it's
I'm
one of
happy
those.
about
It's one of those things I've learned in this life is that it's the effort that counts. And like I said, even with what I'm going through, like I'm gonna be looking for seriously looking for clients tomorrow, Friday, next week, because I haven't had a chance because I've been playing catch up with everything else, you know.
it.
But I have time now, so I'm going to make it cool. And it's funny. One person I told what happened to me was like, "Oh, I'd cry." And another person told me, well, you know what? I mean, you got to be tough in this world. And it's like, nope, you're absolutely right. You got to be tough in this world. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts. Right?
Yeah,
All
but
right.
sometimes you can allow yourself to mourn whatever opportunity you lost. Like you
Oh,
can't
yeah,
always
sure.
like, oh, I'm just want to walk it
Yeah.
off,
But
just for a moment, like.
I bought myself Oreo cookies and I downed them. I'm good now.
See, I don't know why. Like, how is it that certain people have certain kind of comfort foods? I guess it's what you grew up with, or whatever you kind of like go with as a child, or maybe I don't
Well,
know.
no, it's for me. I wanted something with chocolate and vanilla, and it was 11 o'clock at night when they had the double stuffed Oreos for like $3. I was like, I'm in. I'm good.
I'm taking
Yeah,
it.
damn right.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you just gotta go with it.
Yeah, sometimes it's nothing deep. Sometimes it's just what was there. My personal favorite chocolate bar choice is marzipan.
Marzipan. Oh, yes.
That's that that that
Yes.
that that shit's good.
America has never been that great with marzipan, but I mean, German marzipan,
My
there's like
grand
lots and
my
lots of stuff.
I gotta tell you something. See,
Hmm.
I know a place in Canada that would be like drugs, where they make some of the best chocolate I've ever seen in the world, including
Ooh.
their marzipan.
Hmm.
Christina Z, who did the very first Witchblade comic, right? He did the first Witchblade comic.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I showed her this place and goes, "What have you done to me?" It's like I am your enabler. That's what I did. I'm your enabler. Here you go, right? And I say it like that because it's just one of those. It was one of those moments where you look at it and kind of go, "It's right there. Let's have some fun, right? And go with it." And yeah, no, it's one of those things where yeah, no, I kind of how do I put this? I know where I can get my hands on good chocolate. Now, the Oreos is not good chocolate. I'm not going to pretend it is. It's not even close to good chocolate. It's how do we put this? Also delicately for people here. It was there. It was there.
Oh, let's just put it in a song. If you, uh, if you can't be with the one you love, love with the one you got, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it,
We go
folks.
with Oreos.
Oreos was my core of choice, and Oreo lovers out there, I'm sorry. I fell in love with how do I put this? A better class of chocolate. I have. It's true.
High class chocolate. There we go.
Hey, chocolate, much like women, there are different levels of, like, there's some really classy women out there that are awesome, and you want to have put the effort into. And then there are some, and you know this too. There, and there's the truth, men as well. There are some men that are amazingly cool people. And there are some men who are just, they're just there. All right.
Alive. Check.
That's it. You're only good for one thing, but you're here. And some of you might not even be good for that either. But hey, you're here, and I got nothing else right now. And Oreo is that. It's my nothing else. I kind of feel really bad. I feel like Oreo, the company. I'm sorry, but we all know what kind of chocolate you make. We all know it. We all know it. It's true. Oh, it's true.
Although Oreos make such a good topping for different stuff.
Oh
Like
no.
the other day we found like a really cool donut shop over here. And
Oh,
my husband actually tried that one. It's called Hulk Smash. It was like a green donut, like
really?
green frosting mint, and it had like Oreo cookies crumbled on top of it. It was called Hulk Smash, and he said that was actually really really good.
Awesome. I'll take your word for it. Right. So,
Yes.
and that's the other thing. Oreo does play well with others. I'll give Oreo that. How is that okay?
Collaboration effort.
That's right. All right. I could say something really raunchy about Oreos and stuff now, but I'll be good because it's like, Oreo is that kind of chocolate, ladies and gentlemen. It is that. I'm a terrible human being. I can't help myself.
It brings out the worst.
Yeah, it brings out my worst qualities.
Who knew that Oreo had that in it? Maybe that's why it was chosen for the Hulk smash.
That's right.
That's what it
Right.
is.
Hulk smash. Okay, sure.
But we were talking about sports earlier. Like actually, one of the very first things that I got to do coming to America, one of my first jobs that I had was working for a screen printing company that was also doing. They had one of those sports guys coming to them. He was asking if they were printing foam. They're like, sure, we print anything. So he brought in those number one fingers,
Oh, the foam
and he
fingers.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So he had like a whole bunch of college teams, and then every single one had their own little saying or their like an extra slogan or like their logo on it. So I did that for quite some time, like doing separation production art for
Oh, so
foam fingers. Yes.
hey, listen, there's nothing wrong. I think foam fingers are the shiz. They can be fun, right? There's nothing wrong if foam fingers are one of those. They're kind of like the sprinkles on top of fun. They don't hurt anybody. There's they're the sprinkles of fun, right? They don't hurt anybody, right? And because they
Yeah.
don't hurt anybody, you can just enjoy them for what they are. This is a weird conversation. I compared Oreos to whores, and I've compared foam fingers to sprinkles. I'm not sure.
It must be late at night.
Oh, it says it
That's
must be
what it is.
very late at night, but it's okay. Somebody listening to this conversation is gonna be like, "What the hell is he on, folks?" This I'm drug free. That is the frightening part. That's why I don't ever do drugs because if I'm this way sober, be
What
with
would
drugs.
happen?
Oh boy, probably probably there'd be phone calls like, so why did you do that? I don't know. It's like, you never did any of this stuff before. It's like, you're right. I've never done any of this stuff before. That's why I
The
did it.
Oreos made me do it.
That's right. I blame the Oreos. Motherfucking Oreos. Their
I'm trying
sweet
to
and
think what
tastiness.
I'm trying to think what kind of like sweets or anything. You know, as a kid, I was a loved gummy bears. That was my
Gummy bears is
go-to.
good shit.
Yeah, gummy bears. Like, I mean, technically the gelatin and everything is good for your joints and everything too, isn't it? Like
Yep. Oh,
collagen and all that kind of stuff. Technically, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. So gelatin stuff. It's got like 9 of the 10 essential stuff in protein. It's actually good for you, right? It's actually, if you can't eat meat and you're trying to avoid, like, or let's say you're trying to become, like, from a diet standpoint, I
Mhm.
want to avoid eating like lots of meat. The gelatin will, or if you're looking for like extra healing for like protein powders, snacks, that kind of stuff, can't go wrong with that. Actually, it's actually pretty good. So I say that
Yes.
from I say that from the health perspective. It's like, it's good shit, and it is good shit. It will put hair on your chest and make a man out of you or something. I don't know.
I'm not quite looking for that, but you know,
Hey, listen. Somebody is, right. I'm just saying. Someone listening to this podcast will be like, and at this point, folks, if you think I'm serious about anything I'm saying, the health stuff I'm a little serious about, but really, I'm just bullshitting you tonight. So I'm having fun, and I've tried, and I think I've made a little bit of an effort here. I made a little bit of an effort here. I think this is almost good, almost.
well, you know, especially when it comes to like doing portraits and everything, that can be dicey. You know, because you want to do a good job, especially if they're well, if they're good looking people, even if they're kind of so. You know, like if somebody is not the prettiest of persons, do you want to do it accurate or do you want to do flattering? That's the age-old thing that portrait artists of patronage way back when always ran into. Do I make it lifelike, or do I want to keep my paying customer happy?
Uh, what do you think? This is as a little test run. It's not too bad, I don't think. A little bit. I
I
should make
don't
it
think
bigger.
I don't think it's that bad. No,
Oh,
no.
I'm getting
I mean,
somewhere.
I don't know exactly what she looks like, so it's difficult for me to say like, oh, this is definitely exactly
Oh,
like.
again, I know going into this, I'm missing stuff. It's all good. I'm not, again, this is good practice for me. If and nothing else, right? It's good practice. But right, and that's what I'm going to tell myself. If like, but again, I, I've learned this too. I've learned this honestly too. The more I care about something, like the more my age old fears of wondering if this thing's going to suck come back. And and that's the thing, right? If I care, what if it sucks? And then I realize something again, and then I go back to the same argument I did before. So what if it sucks? Right? So what if it sucks? You have to, every time I try, I get better. And that's how I look at it. And that's how I have to look at it.
You know, but that's part of the reason why I do the same thing that Aunt, for example, is doing, and that is scanning in like pencil work and then coloring it, like doing a printout of it and then coloring the printout. So you have the original, and you can just let yourself go loose with the coloring and just do the flow. You know, because you don't have to worry about ruining the original,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're a little bit more free in actually experimenting and doing it. And for watercolors, like what I do, that's actually really important because a lot of watercolor also has to do with happy accidents. Because you
Yes.
can't always control where the water goes or where the ink is going to kind of like flow to or whatever. So it helps a lot to just do things and then do the layering on top of layering. A lot of it just, if you're too worried about it, then you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just one thing that you'll have to accept that when you're doing watercolor, that there are a lot of things that are moderately beyond your control. Obviously, the better you are at coloring, the better you are at your craft and at your medium and everything, the more you can kind of make things happen the way that you want to, obviously. But at the same time, there's uh, ways to get better at it or whatever. Usually that involves not caring too much about the small things.
Yeah. Well, see, I have a slightly different philosophy at this point in time, partly because I haven't done any of the computer programming stuff yet,
Mhm.
and that's this. This is kind of like my marble painting. That's how I look at it. It's like like marble paints. There is no definitive good, right? And while I am again, I'm not where I was when I started, and I am very well aware of this, right? I'm very well aware of this. I'm not where I started. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I got as far as I did. Now, at some point, like I'm going to have to take an actual art class and actually have to pretend I know what I'm doing or something like that, right? I have to pretend get to that point where it's like, hey, I know what I'm doing. But at the same time, what I've learned about this is I like this. I really like how I've done her face on this one already better. So that's a plus. I am learning little tricks to make my stuff better. Like I actually learned something about lips tonight, which I never considered up until this moment.
What's that?
Well, so what a lip is it like if you look at lips, they're three lines actually, and then you connect them together. The mistake I was making for the longest time was I was trying to draw the top lip, then the bottom lip, and then cross the middle. Well, tonight I tried something a little different. I decided that I would. I'm trying to find myself a lighter pencil here. Maybe I'll just use a mechanical pencil for this bad boy. Um, what I found myself doing here was I'm going to instead of doing it like that, I'm going to do the middle lip first, right? I'm going to do the middle lip first, and then I'm going to work around it. So I made the little lip a smile, then went on top, and then went in the bottom, and I connected them together that way, and it actually worked better. So I learned something about lips tonight. See, I got better at that, I think. So, and that again, and that's the thing. Every time you do something, you have the opportunity to learn, right? And
Now
that's how I'm treating.
the thing about lips is also that you have to think about them three dimensionally.
Yes.
If you're looking at the lips by itself, like the main thing is obviously the gap in between, and the
Mm-hmm.
personality of who somebody is makes the difference. Like, is there more of a cupid's bow, or are there thinner lips, thicker lips? Are they
Mm-hmm.
pouting? Are they like frowning? There's all kinds of different things that go into that. So I usually do the upper lip first, and that also includes the that little trough right here under the nose. So I'm doing that first, shaping the lip, and that also kind of gives me an idea of what kind of mood that person is in. And
Yeah.
then the bottom one comes after that, because then I also go like, is the mouth open? Are they smiling? And then the bottom one kind of like hugs closer to what I already did on the top. So that's usually how it works for me.
Yeah. No. In this particular case, since I'm trying to copy, it's like some of like the internal facial features I'm going to have to work on to get better at myself for everybody, not just her. And I just something I again personal holes in game that must be worked upon. You know what I mean? But I've also but again, that's the beautiful thing about this is this whole thing's a process, right? right?
Yeah, and
And, and
actually, I never really went to school formally for art, so most of my game was all developed by practicing.
yeah,
Now, I've
and
been practicing a really long time, like lifetime, basically. And because coming to America, I didn't have the time or the money to actually go to school for just art. I think we already talked about this at least once. A lot of the time that I spent was going to libraries and just taking out all kinds of different books, like fashion books, architecture, all kinds of different things, and just copying it or looking at it and just working with what you got. So it takes time to invest to actually get better at whatever you do. You don't always have to have like a professional telling you what to do.
oh, I actually, it's at some point you have to walk away from the professional telling you anyway, because the professional has their way. Ultimately, when you're starting, you need, like, the big advantage of getting tutored is you learn the quote unquote the proper techniques. And I'm not poo pooing them at all. They're incredibly valuable, right? But at some point, it's not really about technique anymore. It's about what you care about expressing. And at that point, that's all just style, right? That's there's no there's and that's a willingness to get uncomfortable and explore what makes you you, right? So, and what I've learned in this life is you gotta stop at that point. When you get to that point, you stop asking permission. You just go out there and do it. Now, sometimes, like me, I may do that step a little too soon. I'll be the first to admit it. Sometimes I don't need this. Oh wait, I do need this. Shit, right? But I say that, right, because um, I've learned in this life that, again, it's not too bad. Although, again, face is not quite right. I wish I had my eraser here. I do not. Oh, I do have an eraser. Haha! Yay! Magic eraser, magic eraser. Da 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 da. Da. But what I've learned in this life is that you have to recognize that again, you have to go for it on your own terms sometimes, and sometimes it's not. Look, I'm doing a graphic novel at my current art level, and the reason why this particular graphic novel I'm drawing is because I'm at my current art level. If I was better, I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't be able to do it. Right? It's one of those odd spots where it's really hard for a good artist to draw badly and have the same emotional intensity as when they're drawing their absolute best. It's hard. But because I'm where I'm at, it's like, this is the best I can do. Sweet. This is a unique window of opportunity of telling a very specific kind of story. Right?
I remember you telling me about this story too, the
Yeah.
process of it and everything. So it's interesting that you're working your way through art at the same time while telling that specific story.
Yeah, of course. Because it's because it's one of those things where you just realize I can still tell stories. Now, could I tell a story that maybe is on On's level? Well, no, but that's because On's amazing, and she's got a lot more practice at it than I do, right? This, and I think the thing that I give myself a little mercy on
There's a
is
cat.
is hello, Mr. Kitty.
Yep, here's a kitty butt. Let's hope that Mr. Kitty is not going to. Come on.
Hi, Mr.
Yes.
Kitty. It's okay. I've had dogs, I've had cats, I've had 4-year-olds. It's all good. What's the cat's name?
This is Craig. It's fucking Craig.
Hey, fucking Craig. How you doing? I'm clipping this. You know this, right? Like the little clips I do, this part here, it's gonna be it says fucking Craig. That's what it's gonna be. I'm just letting you know that right now. We're all adults here, folks. We are all adults here.
At this late night, I don't think we have to worry about kids. Or we shouldn't have to. That's all.
Hold on, saying fucking Craig. Okay, I'm done. I got it out of my system.
Yeah.
No, I've just learned that, you know, that you can't. I truly believe that there's like a now, it's never. I believe that's one of my big philosophies is there is only now. So what do you want to do now? And because if you don't do it, it's never. Right? That doesn't mean that you do it all at once. It means that you're making a conscious effort to do something. And that's important. Whatever you make a conscious effort to do, that is super, super important. And the rest can be the rest. Right? I don't necessarily need to have the ultimate finished result. That's not what this is about. This is about...
Well, a lot of things are a process, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of things involve a whole bunch of work, preparation.
Oh yeah.
Different kind of things. So
discipline's huge.
And so a lot of different things, especially if it involves getting better at something, or having something that involves a whole process of things like writing a story or making a comic or whatever it is. Like as long as you start.
Yep.
You know,
No.
it can always be improved to be better, but you need to start first.
And you must make an effort. It's all about the effort. At the end of the day, it's nothing else. It's your effort. And I say that with all love and respect to anybody. Like I said, I just had this big personal epiphany of it's now, it's never. And I've learned that, I've embraced it. Right? I've learned that, I've embraced it. It's been one of those moments in life where I just thought that's my whole thing. And I'm old enough now, but here's the difference now. I'm also old enough now where I'm also an impatient bastard. Right? So I'm not waiting on anybody anymore. It's like, hey, want to do something? I don't. Okay, bye. Right? And I say it like that because it's what I've realized is, again, this goes back to something I've learned in freelancing. If people really want you, they will go out of their way to ensure that you know it. And if they really don't, they're gonna hum and ha. And the way I look at it at this point in my life, why waste time? If you're gonna hum and ha, I'm out. I got better things to do. And that's kind of where I'm at. And maybe that some people will look at me and go, well, that's just the way it is. You only got now. I got no guarantees tomorrow. I can't wait for anybody. And I have to do what I feel I got to do. And that's true with everybody. Everybody's got to make that choice for themselves. And whatever that choice is, I respect it. But if you're going to hum and ha to me about stuff, I'm just going to do my thing. I mean, like, I ain't waiting for your ass. I got things to do. Right. And so that's it. And that's where I'm at. Right. Maybe that makes me a terrible person. I don't know.
Well, it depends on how you communicate that. You know, like if you're saying like, "Oh, fuck off," that's entirely different than saying like, "I don't have time for this. Maybe some other time."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's levels of communication that can be considered rude, but you know.
Well, I look at it this way: if you come to me and say, I have other things I'd rather do," I respect that. I totally do, actually. That part I actually get. right? At least, and you're saving me time. You're telling me no, right? But if you're going and you're trying to, how do I say this? If you're saying, yeah, I want to do this, and then everything keeps coming up and things change and things shift, after a while, I'm gonna be like, you know what? We're done. I'm doing something else. You do you. I am going to do something else. And
I know
maybe,
what you mean,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I have had clients like that where you're supposed to do something and then they don't answer back, and then they and then all of a sudden they want you to rush things, like, but
But then at that point, oh, that looks awesome. That's really cool.
so
Hold on,
that's
wait a second. We're not. Where is he? We're not.
Yeah, I've
really
been wanting
good.
to do a Nezuko for quite some time for Demon Slayer. Been kind of like looking forward to making that Sleeping Beauty for quite some time. So yay!
Yay!
Yeah, I just figured I might as well go for it. Maybe I'll do a little bit more coloring work for some other time, but at least the line work is done.
Yeah. So no. So with clients, I charge more money for that shit. That's what I've worked my way around it. If my client hesitates, they pay more money. It's an asshole tax. It's a rule. It's actually a rule I have.
I've had that before too. I know a lot of people call it that too, because some people are just a pain in the ass.
Well, no, they are, and that's the thing, right? Like, again, some people are great, and I never have to worry about this. But what I've learned is this: I'm going to punish hesitation. If you told me you wanted this, I'm gonna assume you want this, right? I'm gonna assume that your word is your bond. If you don't want this, all you gotta do is tell me you don't want this, and I will respect I'll respect that. I mean, hey, I mean, I'm gonna take you at your word. But because I'm taking you at your word, if you suddenly look like, if your actions start to contradict your word and you're wasting my time, you're paying me more fucking money. If I got to deal with this bullshit, you're paying me. That's it. That's how I look at it.
It's just, some people are just the worst. And
Oh, yeah.
the worst thing, like, for graphic artists in general, is just minute changes that don't make any freaking difference whatsoever. Like moving line just a millimeter over here, millimeter over there, just because they say so. Or they're not quite sure, and then they're moving stuff around, like, oh, God. And there comes a point where you're saying, like, like art time and being able to charge for art time is one thing. But if it gets to that point where you're just like, I don't want to make these changes anymore.
Well, no, so
it's just,
this is what I do. No, I do this with my videos. It's 2 changes. You get 2. You get 2 go arounds at this. After the second go around, we good, or you giving me more money?
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. Like, usually, like, a small little bit of revision is fine, but I charge for art time. I charge for art time. So if you're making a lot of revisions, I'm charging you anyway. But even making the money for art changes, there comes a limit to where you're saying, like, it doesn't make any difference if you go beep or beep.
It's like Joker and Harley Quinn. Like, really, is anyone going to give a shit about this? Because I don't, and I'm looking at this right now. I don't get it. But at the same time, there's a part of me, again, there I look at it kind of like, okay, you're paying me, you are paying me. I will deal with this. I will try not to get too mad at this thing. I do not understand what you're doing. Maybe you don't understand what you're doing, but I don't care. You're paying me, and that's how. And maybe I'm a terrible person for saying it that way. But
in general, I'm a people pleaser. Like, it would take a lot for somebody to actually alienate me to the point, not necessarily, of course, not paying me, but but in general, there are people that are far more difficult to work with it because of it.
Oh yeah.
So
some people recognize. Some people recognize they're difficult, and they do pay you accordingly. Some people do.
Yeah.
And that's fair. And you know what? At that point, you just accept it. Like, At that point, they're like, okay, we're giving you money. You just got a deal, and again, that's just part of the gig at that point. But
Yeah.
but again, that's one thing. I think when you're looking at okay, I just did a video gig for a client. Now there is a potential room for some revision because I saw a potential. It's not necessarily a mistake I made, but I saw a potential thing I may have to go. I may have to go change at some, like, if again, maybe not, right? Up to the client. But if the client it wants to make this change, I won't argue with the client because I expect it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I expect this. I have accepted that this is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I've accepted this possibility of a change. Now, having said all that, the other change. Now, the other anything else I'd expect from this, right? This is as far as I expect. The rest will be like whatever it looks like at this point. You know? So I say that like just to get an idea. Like I expect, like you always expect some revision, right?
Yeah.
And there's some things. My foot fell asleep. Dang it! Ow! 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 Come on, wake up. You got shit to do.
It's too late, man.
Nah. Hell no. Actually, I was told a really cool compliment today. My coworkers looked at me. It's like, how I said, I'm 41 years old. Like, you're 41? It's like, yep. You don't look it. Thank you. Thank you very much. How old do I look? You look like you're in like your late 20s. I'll take it.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday I was actually walking home. I had just done some scan work for a commission that I just sent off to the post office today, and I was carrying that commission under my arm. And Hawaii's got a lot of homeless people.
Yes.
And especially like downtown and that area, there's a lot of people around there. And there's parks where there's a lot of people sitting around, or just especially during the daytime. But they're also like little cardboard cities where people are just hanging out. And I was going through one of my really favorite parks because it's got huge mangrove trees all circled around like a fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just walking through there, and there's a lady with a dog. And I was just oh, there you go. Actually, I can see a lot of personality in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Really cool.
Getting there. Yeah. I'm figuring out psychology. I can figure out pretty quickly. Like technique, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But I mean,
but what I was going to say, like going in that park, and that there was a lady sitting there with her dog, and she was just saying like, "Oh, hello," and usually I'm friendly with people, like if somebody says good morning, if they're homeless or whatever, I say good morning back. That's just, if you're nice and polite, I don't care who you are. So, and then she's like, oh, is that art right there? Like, I show her my artwork. And she's like, oh, you're doing that. You're such a talented artist, and really like a lot of compliments, and was closing with oh, so that's so nice that you showed it to me, and thank you for stopping by and talking to me. I really appreciate that. And my dog likes you too. And then, by the way, like, oh, God sees you, and a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm like, I'm an atheist by, let's say agnostic.
No, okay, cool.
And,
I respect agnostic. I'm a Christian. I think atheism is the truest religion on the planet because it has no doubt. But an agnostic, I can respect. An agnostic, I totally respect.
I'm just saying that just because, like, whatever, like, and I can't prove to you that you're wrong, or I don't necessarily want to. So, but I appreciate the how can I say, the sentiment behind it, let's say. You know,
Yeah.
and I thought that was just a fun thing, just from
Mhm.
somebody who doesn't really have anything else to do, and
Yeah.
just takes the time to say hello and just yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
no,
just thought that was really fun.
no, there, okay, there's a lot of homeless people everywhere, and I think
Yeah.
one of the things and it's unfortunate, even here. Okay, in Calgary right now, it is minus 22 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome to Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So, right, there are homeless people outside right now, like literally, like right this minute, there are. This is one of the hardest cities to survive a winter in if you're on the street.
Oh yeah.
And 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 how do I put this? That also there's some amazing. I have seen. So coming out of the arena I work at, there's this dude. He was a combat vet, right, in Canada. Just he was served in the military. He's out on the street right now, right? And this is in Canada. And the thing about this is, right, that dude had a life. He's got a story. He has experiences. He has value, right? Whatever he is in life. And I think a lot of us tend to forget this. But everywhere I've gone, I even in the city, like I don't give to charities necessarily, but I will occasionally give a meal to somebody if I have some extra money. I will actually go buy someone a meal. It's just even just an A&W or something like that.
Mhm.
You get to really hear people's stories sometimes when you just take a minute and talk to them. There's some incredibly talented, gifted people that are just in an unfortunate situation. And when
Yeah.
you take a moment and you look at them, they're no different than you or I. And once you realize that, it's like that's. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there are people on the streets that are nasty too.
There's a lot of people actually who are having um, some kind of a mental challenge,
Mhm.
and that could
Yes.
be as simple as like a chemical imbalance, or
Mhm.
just that they have some kind of a personality disorder. And especially if you have the combination of a health system that is not necessarily good at taking care of people's psychological needs, then you end up with a lot of people who are not having a good time finding employment. They are not good at taking care of themselves, and
Mhm.
they don't play well with others. So you have a lot of different things that come together where things are just not going to work out.
Well, it goes one step further, right? The system kind of pushes these people away. Like it's easy to ignore these people too, right? So what happens now is you're cooking for yourself. So now trying to get something to eat. That's your challenge for the day, right? Is getting food in your system. And then once you get food, the next challenge is finding a place to sleep. In where I'm at right now, like right, it's fucking cold. So I mean,
Oh
that's a
yeah,
huge survival thing. Where are you gonna go? Where
I
are you gonna
can't.
go not
I,
freeze?
I can't even imagine how you would take care of yourself at like minus 22 degrees, where they don't have to scrape you off the concrete the next day.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
how do you get over the cold at
well
that
again,
point? It's just
you find cricks and cracks and crevices to shield you from the cold. You do whatever you can, right? There are bus shelters sometimes people crash in, right? There's all kinds of things, right, that you do just to survive. And
well, we were actually watching a couple of different shows, and there's like a lot of different places that have sewers or
mhm,
underground systems, or different places that are abandoned or empty, or have extra little things going on, and people find the most amazing spots and nooks and crannies sometimes. Like I saw people that were in sort of like a train system, and there was tiny little service holes where you could just go in there, and they were probably not bigger than my table right here, my
yeah,
work table, but you could just go under there, and if you are only enclosed with a little bit of space, that by itself can already isolate enough where your body heat is kind of like
Yeah.
isolated, and that can work out a lot. But it's amazing. But as soon as people become aware of it, then no, we have to go.
Yeah. No, and that's it, right? And it goes one step farther, right? I mean, these people are also just basic things. Like, it's amazing what like shaving, putting lipstick on. It's amazing what those little things can do to make you feel more human. And we take all this stuff for granted. So now,
Yeah.
when you add all this stuff up, it's easy to get someone to feel very disgruntled when they're ignored. Cash is not is cash. There are stores that no longer accept or trying not to accept cash. Now there's some legal things with that, but if cash disappears completely, right, they can't beg for change anymore, which means that that's going to get even tougher on them to survive. What are they going to do? Steal people's cards? Steal people like? And these are things that I, again, from a consideration point of view, as the system becomes more merciless, there's more of a divide between have and have not. And once you realize that that's the nature of the beast, it's really, again, and I think the thing that I think that a lot of people don't want to think about, but it's the truth. This can happen to anybody. A bad streak, a bad string of luck, a bad moment, and you're there. And that's all it takes. Right. And that, I mean, we have come to such a razor thin lines on that stuff. So now you got a whole bunch of people. There's more people on the street now than when I was here last time. And I mean, I'm imagining it's true everywhere. So what
there's a lot of things that go into it. Like, for one thing, dependency on a job.
Yeah.
And especially with the economic downturn and like the last couple of years have turned a lot of people out on the streets because of that. Medical emergencies, right? That's another thing. And on the flip side of that, you've got the gentrification of neighborhoods where everything is getting more and more expensive, and there's not available affordable housing.
No. So now and with the economic side, like, I do think we're heading to an economic, like, another housing collapse. I see that coming. I see a lot of other things coming in the not too distant future. So what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a massive crunch and I think a paradigm shift, which I think is ultimately going to be a good thing. But the process is going to be painful. There might be a lot more people that go on that one side to the other, cross into the other side. And people will realize, oh shit, this can happen to anybody. And anyone listening to this, like, if you have never done it, talk to some of these people. It's amazing what you'll find. Like, when I was in Vancouver, when I lived in Vancouver, there were a lot of homeless people there with full-time jobs. They were employed. It's like, what the fuck, right?
And I remember in 2008, like, when a lot of the work was kind of like coming down and everything, like we went to food banks too.
Yeah.
My husband and me. I think at that point, we both had jobs, but it was just whittled down to quite some bit less. So at that time in 2008, that wasn't even coupled with prices getting expensive. So right, there's a lot of things that were coming together with it. Well, this has turned into a more fun.
We went down. Well, hey, listen, we went from fucking Chuck to
all the way to housing crisis and all this.
Because that's how a conversation can go, right? That's just
true.
Right? Like, here's the thing. I can be a silly son of a bitch, but I can also be quite serious too, and sometimes in the same conversation. That's what I love about this. All I'm saying, folks, and then we'll move on to something happier, is this: there are good people in every situation, and you should not dismiss people in those situations. There are people struggling, absolutely, and there's a lot of imbalance in a lot of systems worldwide right now. All of which to say that be kind to each other. Wherever you're at, be kind to each other, because Lord knows we need it.
That sounds like a good plan.
Is that a good one? Is a good way to wrap that part of the conference? So let's talk a little bit more and we'll wrap up. So are you reading? Are you reading any good books, any comics lately?
Um, I have just started a couple of different things. Like I started Lock and Key, which I never actually been into.
That's a good book.
So that's a good book. When it comes to other things, let's see. I just finished a good prose, like a good fiction book.
What'd you read?
I read Hyde. I'm just looking up to see if I can find the author real quick.
So I'm currently reading this.
Let me see. Where are you? Oh, okay. Instant Karma. The Be Kind. Perfect. Figures. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, no, but so I interviewed Marissa for the podcast actually,
Mhm.
and she's a huge Beatles fan. Reading this book, she's a huge Beatles fan, and
Okay.
so now I know if I ever get her back on the show, what we're talking about next time, we're talking Beatles. That's what we're gonna do. If I next time I have her on the show, we're gonna talk Beatles. So I'm reading that. I just read Brian Michael Bendis's The Ones, which is from Dark Horse, which is a fun read. I can't wait for Snowpaw 2. I got that funded. I think that's my favorite Kickstarter indie book right now.
Okay.
And I think it's Rob's best work writing wise, and Mog is killing it on the interior. So it's just like I get the best of all worlds. I had to choose a cover for that. It was just like, oh no.
Oh yeah. I remember which one was it? I think it was Snowpaw.
Yeah.
Was no, it was Spectrus and Sabanian, that Kurt Sauer book. And I remember looking at this like, which cover would I want? Because An did a cover for it and
I got
Mog did a cover, but then
so,
there
so,
was a bunch of different vehicles and some.
so this is what I did on that one. That was my I just got those. I picked the old Mog no logo covers. I got those
Mm.
ones, and I got An's current cover because I again on a personal note, I am on a personal level, I'm a big fan of An. I don't know what's going on with her because I haven't heard from her in months.
I think she's really busy with something. You're
Yeah,
probably going to be at one point like surprised at all the different things that she's finished that she
yeah,
can't talk about yet. Something. I think
yeah. No,
that's probably going
she's
to be the deal.
completely disappeared because we were supposed to talk about doing something, but that I haven't heard I nor hear from her. Right. So I'd let her kind of just like go into the ether. So I don't know what's going on with her. Just met, but yeah, I wanted to do something for her. Mog, I was like, well, I'm getting Snowpaw, so it's not like I'm not supporting Mog that way, right? So it's just like, right. It's kind of like one of those situations where I'm trying to be good to all my friends or as many of them as I possibly can.
And it's hard because there's so many different people
Yeah.
doing
What?
great. I just finished two campaigns too with that had covers by me actually.
Ooh.
I finished one of Mark May's I comics. It was the Hellbringer. Let's see if I can pull that up. Um, Hellbringer, the second to last one, and I did a cover for that. And then for Sean Barbu and Chuck's Belial 3,
Uh,
I did a cover for that one too.
so I just posted a little video with Sean and Chuck not too long ago. I don't know if you saw
I
it or
saw
not.
that. I saw it. I didn't have a chance to actually watch the entire thing, but I saw that. They're fun. They're really fun. So,
Sean is a sweetie.
uh,
Sean is a sweetie. He really is. And I also just did one. It's funny. Sometimes I wonder, like again, like all of us wonder what impact we really make on people sometimes. So
mm,
I did a little video for John yesterday, and it just says John Westhoff is a good dude because I think he's a really sweet guy too. Next
yeah.
thing I know, I wake up when I did it right before I went to sleep. When I wake up, he shared it in a whole bunch of spots and he goes, "This made my day." And then he was joking
Oh,
with somebody. He was joking with one of his friends. You paid him to say this, right? It's like, but it's not funny. It's funny because it's funny to me because it's actually the second time in a week I've been told for some of the things I say to people I should be paid for. So it's like, okay, maybe. I had a metal drummer, she drums a band I really, really dig. She actually goes to me, man, you should get paid. You should honestly charge for what you say to some people because you really affirm them. It's like, that's cool. I appreciate that. So yeah, maybe I'll become a therapist slash motivational speaker slash priest of some kind. I don't know, right? But
I don't know. I don't know if I can share.
If you can't, or are you allowed to share, or you just don't know how to share?
I'm just looking right now. Select window screen.
You can definitely share. I mean, I can definitely. All you gotta do is there's a share screen option.
Yep, I'm just looking to see. We are right here. Nope.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the right window. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to find the right window.
Oh, there! I heard a beep.
Yeah, but that's not what I want. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. One of these days.
You'll figure it out. You'll figure it. But no, I'm glad you're doing some stuff. I mean, I guess like I said, maybe actually, you know what? Let's when this is over, when this is officially over, let's have a quick conversation about something, because
Okay.
I have a thought. Well, I have thoughts. We'll just leave it at that.
You have things going around in your noggin.
I always have things going on in my noggin, Connie. Always.
Yeah.
You can just look at my you can just look in my head and you can just tell it's like he's always got something upstairs. I'm not sure I want to see it. It's under construction, but that's okay. So listen, you know, I always have fun with you. You're great. So personal goal next year. So this podcast, as you see, is getting really close to 1,000.
All right. Cool.
It's at 85 right now. I will hit 1,000 by May of next year, give or take. Yeah. I'll hit 1,000. That's huge, right?
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
When I get done that, I take the show in a different direction. I'm actually going to be going on the road a lot. That's the plan next year. So what I want to do, is I'm going to get like a Mystery Machine van, maybe with or without ice cream. Yay! Listen, it will be a Scooby-Doo van, and I'm going to own that shit completely. It's going to be Scooby-Doo style.
Cool.
I'm going across Canada and the United States both. And I'm going to be going to various places, and I'm going to be meeting some of the people. I have been incredibly fortunate in the sense that I have met some amazing people. And for me, what the pandemic has taught me more than anything else, and this is not, we're not going to go deep into the darkness of the pandemic, but really the light side of it, which is this: life is truly a precious thing, and the people you meet are precious too. So what I really want to do is meet some of these awesome people that I've seen on the journey. So maybe I don't know if it's going to be next year, maybe it'll be 2024 with you, but I definitely want to do a Hawaiian trip at some point and be like, hang out with everybody there and just chill. Because there's some really
people. There's a lot of people that you would meet all over the place.
Again, people seem to like me. For all my crazy, people seem to like me, so I'm going to take advantage of it. And I want to meet some of the great people. Like me, I want to meet Mel and Mog. I want to meet like people like Lucy Letner, who's back in Pittsburgh. There's an ice cream place under train tracks. We are going to do a show where I'm eating ice cream under Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania train tracks. That I want to meet Chuck, and I want to meet Wendy in Texas. I want to meet John in Ohio. I want to meet Rodney. I don't know if you know Rodney Fike and Tina, but if you do know them,
I don't know.
If you have it, Rodney's cool.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, but you know what? If you're coming here, I definitely take you to the donut shop. You get a Hulk smash.
I will get a Hulk smash. Okay. I get to whore around with some more Oreos.
Yep.
Yeah, damn right. That sounds like a plan. So at some point, I don't know if it's gonna be next year, right? But at some point, I will definitely want to hit Hawaii and go, hey everybody, I'm here. Let's all hang out and have a good time. And like life's a precious thing, and I want to meet some of the very awesome people I've been fortunate to have conversation with, and it does include you. So I hope you'd be up for it. Yes.
I hope so too. I mean, I'm usually pretty busy. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with work and everything, but always have to see what's coming up. You never know.
Never know. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I've gotten some pretty cool people to agree to come and hang out with. So we'll see about making it all magically work and happen. That's kind of the plan anyway. Life is precious and wonderful, and we should all make the time while we can. And that's how I see it. Maybe I'm crazy.
That's definitely a good plan.
Yeah. So, Miss Connie, got anything coming up?
Yes, actually, I'm going to be at my very first Comic-Con in December. December 10th and 11th is the Maui Comic-Con. So I'm going to be in Artist Alley. I'm going to have artist comps. I'm going to have prints. I'm going to have original artwork all the way from $20 to $300. So there's going to be something in every size and price range for anybody and everybody. I'm going to do commissions. I'm going to have exclusive stickers actually for that event too. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up there that I've got stuff to share. So
that's awesome.
Come by and have a look.
So Maui Comic Con, December 10th and 11th.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's all day. Actually, it's free to the public to attend, so you don't even have to pay an entrance fee to come and check out all the artists over there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at Maui Comic Con, the one and only Conny Jolitz, right, master of the Hulk Smash Donut, and her accomplice, fucking Chuck, will be there.
Fucking Craig. Yeah, fucking Craig.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll be there, and she will be showing off her art, which, in all seriousness, folks, is amazing stuff. She is incredibly talented, and maybe watch. And if I can give you one tiniest little bit, can I make a suggestion? If that's okay.
Go for it.
Do watercolors while you're there, even if there's just. I have a buddy, and he was sitting at my table at this Calgary Comic Con. So he would just chill. He'd show up, and it's like he brings some stuff while we were waiting for people. He went to me once. What do you want to do? What do you want me to draw? Like video. He was looking for something video game. It was like Double Dragon. He did a watercolor Double Dragon, and he sold it literally on the spot because people came up to see what he was doing. Right? Got it. Right. So. This is again, you don't necessarily have to do that. I'm not saying you should watercolor Double Dragon, but if you can, that would be awesome. But right. But what I'm saying is, yeah, just look like you're engaging in something really fun, and people will find you. You're incredibly talented, and people will look at your stuff and go, "That shit's awesome." And then when they get to know you, they'll say you're awesome too.
Hey, I'm likable, damn it.
Damn right. Damn right. I think we have an interview here, Miss Connie. What do you think?
I think we're good.
Okay, so to wrap this up, do you have a webpage or anything else you'd like to promote real quick?
Well, I'm always on Facebook under Conny Jolitz, and I've got my Instagram on CJINKS Arts. So that's CJ Inks Art. CJ Inks.
Like this? Did I get that right?
Yep, that's it. Oh, right there.
Come here, you.
I see.
Work. Yay! That's it. Trained motherfucking professional here, ladies and gentlemen. They gave me Connie. They gave me awards for this. But they did. It's true. Oh, it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Conny Jolitz. She is an amazing, talented individual, and I'm always enjoy having her on the show. Right?
Always.
Yeah. So, anybody else watching, listening, I make videos for clients, for their projects, their brands, or themselves. I shows. I can also just make search advertising videos. For more information, just click on that website. And I'm going to be back tomorrow morning because I'm going to be doing 2 shows tomorrow. One of those shows is going to be, I'm a guest. That's going to be in the evening. But for tomorrow, I have the one and only author extraordinaire, Chantel Mayer, will be a guest on my show, right? And apparently my restream just cursed me out in Spanish over here, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. But everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see ya tomorrow. Come on, you. Hit the button. Come on, button. Hit the button. Yeah, yes, I do.